That's right. James McNerney with me from the Boeing CEO, as you just said. Mark, thanks so much for joining us. We were just talking with Greg Brown of Motorola.
Yes.
It was a good meeting.
Yeah.
Progress was made, particularly on discussing the South Korean trade pact. Did the president give any more indications about what they're going to do with trade?
Well, the congressional approval awaits the Korean trade pact, and there's a full court press, but I think he is committed to both Panama and Colombia behind that, and there was some discussion of the Trans-Pacific Partnership behind that is being discussed right now, I think, by the Trade Representatives Organization. So there was a sense in the room that Korea is the beginning, not the end. And there's and we encouraged him. We of course encouraged him.
And was there a sense that it could be accelerated? Well,
I think my sense is they were working pretty hard on these four, and we encouraged him to go beyond that. That there was more bilateral work to be done in China and India, and the Doha round lies behind that. It was one of our cornerstone recommendations.
Jim, give me your sense of the biggest thing that you came away with from this meeting.
I think teamwork. I mean, I think it's all about jobs, creating economic activity that creates jobs, but that I think the tone the president tried to set, and I think he did successfully set, is that we're in this together. This is, let's get beyond the rhetoric where I feel misunderstood by you, you feel misunderstood by us. Let's just get beyond that.
Well, did you yourself feel that way before coming into the meeting?
Oh, I think there were times when, some of the rhetoric out of the administration over the last year or two, or times that I'm sure they felt misunderstood by us. I mean, we all just agreed to move beyond that, and that was as important a tone setter as anything we talked about.
Now, your company, along with several others, of course, or many others in the United States, have had to cut jobs.
Yeah.
That's high on the agenda, how to create jobs. Was there anything more solid that you could give the president on what at your company, whether or not you were going to start hiring?
Well, we're gonna probably add 4,000 or 5,000 people next year to Boeing, and it's because of export growth. And so we are one of the good guys right now because we're the country's largest exporter, and exports are beginning to move again. So I think the challenge.
So you're hiring strictly because exports are going up?
Not strictly, but largely. Largely okay. Because exports are going up. That's right. And I think other companies face the challenge of getting that growth rate up above the 2 or 3%, where you just can't drive it with productivity. You hire people, and I think we discussed $550 billion of export opportunities in the meeting today. I presented it, and that bears across a lot of industries, and that increases our exports by 1/3 from where they are today. So it's a big deal, and I think if some of these things, and they relate to the free trade agreements, they relate to export controls, they relate to a host of other activities that the President's Export Council has been dealing with.
Right.
I think we can all get above that 2%, or many of us can get above that 2%.
You're confident about that?
Yes, I am. I am confident that we can get that $550 billion.
You mentioned you're hiring next year. Where exactly are you hiring?
Largely Seattle, as we're taking up production rates there and delivering the 787, and in Charleston, South Carolina, where we've got some new facilities.
Okay. What else? Some of the criticisms, out of these types of meetings has been that there's been very little follow-through.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk and a lot of good feelings.
Yep.
But nothing happens afterwards. What gives you confidence this is different?
I think that's a fair question. I think what gives me more confidence this time is the granularity of the discussion. Instead of concepts, we probably touched on 20 substantive issues. He had 20. Yeah, I mean everything from trade agreements to STEM education programs, but he had his staff there, and his staff was tasked, as all of we were, to come up with specific task forces to address these. Now, that's yet to be done. I think, but as we finished the meeting, we spent as much time talking about implementation as we did regurgitating the ideas that came up in the meeting. So I think there's more confidence in my mind that we're going to be down to any, and he was talking time frame, 30 days, 60 days on this, and so we had a much more implementation focused discussion.
Jim, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.